I did cellular and molecular biology, which, you know, is a hard science major, but I liked it. I mean, I won't tell you that I didn't cry on my dorm floor with organic chemistry, because I did. But and you can kind of put your head down and do anything for a year. You don't really notice it. So I was really lucky. I had a student council sponsor that was really active on a national level. And so I got to go to a lot of different state camps and a lot of national conferences. Yeah, volleyball was probably a really big deal for me. And then during school, student council was kind of what kept it all together. I work in the orthopedic department, and so my responsibilities kind of vary day to day. Half of the time I spend in the clinic seeing our patients, kind of managing their routine fractures, reviewing their x-rays with them, deciding what kind of casts they need, if they need a cast, when they can go back to their activities, that kind of stuff. And then the other half is in the hospital, where we take call in the ER and manage any kind of acute orthopedic issues. And then also our inpatient post-op care. So when you go and get your knee replaced or your shoulder replaced, we take care of you in the hospital. I have lots of patients that I really enjoy interacting with. Yeah, orthopedics is a great department because lots of our patients get better, you know, and so I see them for a period of time, but then I don't see them again. And that's great because I know that they don't really need to see me. So, you know, I have lots of great patients. I even get little bitty ones. Like we treat, well, my littlest one yesterday was like 18 months. So we have little kids to, you know, grandma and grandpas every day. The best part to me about being a PA is that I can be somebody's provider. Like I can be your primary care provider. I can see you in the emergency room. I can see you in the clinic. I have a lot of flexibility in my career. But the biggest part is that I'm never the end all be all of somebody's medical care. There's always somebody that I can go to and say, hey doc, what do you think about this one? And I just feel like I'm part of a medical team for my patients. I really like science. I knew in high school that I liked biology and I loved anatomy and physiology. I majored in cellular and molecular biology, and so I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with that. I knew I didn't want to be a doctor. I learned more and more about the field of being a PA, and that really resonated with me. A big mistake people make coming into medicine is having a preconceived notion of what type of medicine they want to practice. Everybody says, well, I want to be a surgeon or I want to be a radiologist, and they kind of tunnel vision themselves. And I think this is kind of general career advice too, that if you narrow yourself that early before you even really have your foot in any door, you limit what you're learning and what you're interested in. I did cellular and molecular biology, which, you know, is a hard science major, but I liked it. I mean, I won't tell you that I didn't cry on my dorm floor with organic chemistry, because I did. But and you can kind of put your head down and do anything for a year. You don't really notice it. It's not that never-ending 15-year residency fellowship kind of a thing. So it's much more approachable, I feel like. So it's pretty consistently anywhere between 24 and 36 months. Usually the programs that have 36 months have a summer off period. Ours was straight through 25, 26 months. So graduate school student loans are terrifying anyway. I mean, undergraduate loans are a nightmare. I'm not a great example. I mean, I took all of the student loans that I had access to in graduate school, mostly because my husband was a student in graduate school too, so we lived on my student loans. There's a lot of people that are like, well, yeah, but you're drowning in student loan debt. My answer to that is, yeah, but I make a pretty good living and I can pay my payments. So I think my adult advice is, don't let that be the reason you don't pursue something you think you love, okay? And do your best while you're in the middle of it, not to take every penny they give you. Just kind of really pay attention to your budget and know how much you need, as opposed to just taking the check that they'll hand you. Student council is one of those activities where it kind of, you know, my way of thinking is it just kind of prepares you for life in general, interacting with people every day. So being able to publicly speak to people certainly helps my confidence when I'm talking to patients and trying to get them to understand that I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. Working in a team dynamic, helping to kind of make sure that all of the tasks are getting done with whatever we're doing, whether that's making sure that the patient gets their post-op appointments scheduled and making sure they have the right type of brace for after surgery and making sure they have notes for work and all those kinds of things. Most days, I'm the one kind of delegating who I need to do that, even if that's delegating it to me. That, I think, is the biggest piece of how student council kind of relates to it. The medical field is like all-encompassing. There's so many different things that you can do, from going to medical school and being a physician, all the way to being a lab technician or being a phlebotomist. Like, there's loads of options. So just because you don't want to go to medical school because you don't want to spend the next 15 years of your life in school, which I totally understand, doesn't mean that you can't be in the medical field. Go and talk to people. If you don't know anybody that practices medicine, go to your doctor and say, hey, do you have anybody that I could shadow? I think you just have to kind of get a feel for it, shadow these people and see, is this an environment that I like? I think that's the biggest thing, is understanding your work environment and if that's where you want to be, because we spend so much time at work, you have to love where you are and who you're with. That's the best career advice I can give you, because the money is great, and I love what I do, but so much of my day is spent with the people that I'm with. So that's an important part.